to the point earlier about hitting on a girl in real life, even though I think there's multiple things. One is, I agree, women are getting more attention through dating apps, which makes it harder for a man to make an impression, because in the back of her mind, there's 4 guys waiting for her on the dating app. But I would say is the satisfaction is where the difference is. When first off, it's hard to strike up conversations with a girl randomly in public. It's just, that's extremely difficult. We talked about it last week. How about, really, it's the woman choosing and the man making the action, right? The woman drops the handkerchief, blah, blah, blah. The man approaches. So that's what makes it hard already, is that you're really not choosing. But in my mind, if you're in your life right now, you're watching this and you're like, I want a relationship, I want something serious, I want to get married, then start thinking about things differently. That's where my mind is. If all the data we're presenting is that dating apps aren't working, then why are you still on them? Going from the guy perspective. If you want a relationship, if that's what you want. If you just want to go on the occasional date when you hopefully get an occasional match, or if you're younger and you just want to, hook up and try to make things work that way, then maybe a dating app is a good place to try to do that. But outside of that, it doesn't make sense if what you're wanting is a relationship, because the data is saying is that just doesn't happen for most people. And so if you want success in something, you have to do what most people aren't doing, and you have to find ways to do it successfully. The question is, how do you do it successfully at a dating apps? That, I think, is the burning question, and who knows? Because to Ben's point is, dating apps have changed how women's expectation. Like you're saying, like we said, like when you're in a small town and your dad says the farmer next door is the right guy for you, that's who you're going for. But when you have 50 guys on Bumble all trying to reach out to you, and they're looks-wise from a 3 to an 8, who are you going to gravitate towards? You're going to gravitate towards the 8.
But at least have a conversation with your dad about, like, what's an ideal guy. Forget about him telling you about the next door farmer. I mean, like, I would hope, like, the woman I married, like, had a good relationship with her dad, because like, that's just gonna make life a lot easier. Let's just put that. We have like a disparity in father-daughter relationship. I think that is the number one reason, like, today men are, like, having a hard time finding anybody. Because, like, men, it's kind of like, women are kind of like on their own, like, oh, camp woman,
the worst sides of it.
Great. I love, I come from the Middle East. So I'm like, I've seen the mother that has like 12 kids, all of them are uneducated. The mother is uneducated. She's getting like a monthly stipend from her husband. I've seen the whole spectrum, I've seen the whole spectrum. And I also come here and I see, like the mother that's working, that's decision maker regarding like finances and this and this and this. And that takes a toll too. Like, whether you subscribe to this camp or you subscribe to this camp or like somewhere in between, I've seen, I have respect for all of it. I'm just saying, I think today, just find a woman that has a good relationship with her dad, or a dad figure, right? That can set up these expectations, what to look for, what not to look for, without that inflated, like, no boundary whatsoever to, oh yeah, I'm looking for this and this and this and this and this and this. Okay, where are you at on that spectrum? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that you're? I think, like, a big portion of what's going on in the what is it, the manosphere, or like, I don't know, the area where, like, advising men, it's there. I feel like there's a lot of, oh, here's a problem, we don't know what to do with it, kind of conversation that we're having, and we keep describing the problem, but we don't know, like, what are we looking for? Like, how do we narrow this down? How do we bridge that gap? And I think like a big portion of this, like someone I would be looking forward to marry, probably has a good relationship with their dad. That's number one. Or at least if they don't have a good relationship with their dad, at least they came back to you know, like like they're at peace in their heart with their dad or their mistakes or whatever, right? Like I'm not saying all dads are awesome. You're supposed to have a relationship with your dad, whether he's like, screwed up or not. I'm just saying, like, sometimes, like, even if he made mistakes, do you have peace towards that person? Because if you don't, that's a big, like, big red flag right there. I think that's at the end of the day, that's the one, that's the biggest problem we're facing, right? You got nobody that defines what success looks like when you're choosing a man, and you're on your own. I mean, it's kind of like, everybody wants to be Elon Musk at 25. You got nobody that tells you, like, dude, it takes work. It takes, like, you know what it means to, you know what I mean? Like, not everybody's going to be Mark Zuckerberg, like being a billionaire under 30, like it's just not everybody. It's okay to be a millionaire. It's okay to start a boring business, like a boring business. By boring, it's not like the most innovative, the most, it's okay. It's okay to do these things. These things are good. That's the majority of us. You don't have to be an outlier. You could be, and there's no problem aspiring to be, an outlier. But to build your life where it's like 100 or zero, you either become an outlier or you're gonna be a homeless man. Like, nah, dude. Like that. You see, that's not like another thing where like expectations have to be like, okay, set properly. So these are my 2 cents of what's happening.